Hey everyone, I'm your favorite host, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we are going to talk about investing, my favorite topic. But not just any investing, not the traditional stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all the traditional stuff. We are going to talk about strategic metals and minerals. And I have the perfect guest on the show who's going to educate us and help us take our investing to the next level. Stay tuned, stay with us. You won't want to miss 1 second of what he has to say. Here we go. Hey everyone, it's your host Marcus Norman, your favorite gentleman of the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I have coming to the stage Louis O'Connor. He's the founder and principal of Strategic Metals Invest. He is in the only industry supplier of the world to offer private investors the option to purchase and profit from owning strategic metals. His investment play is exactly the same paradigm as investing in precious metals. Instead, the investor is purchasing strategic metals. His metals have outperformed gold and the S&P 500 consistently for over the past 5 years with a 175% average return for the same period. So we have to pay attention to this. Right now in North America, the only obstacle investors face profiting from owning rare earths is that they don't know that they can. So he's helping us take our investing game to the next level. So help me welcome to the stage the incredible Louis O'Connor. Welcome to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show, sir. We are glad to have you today.
Marcus, that's the best introduction I think I've ever had. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's all you. You did the work. You and your company, your team are doing the incredible work. And we need you. So thank you for being here and giving back in this way. So you're awesome, sir. You're a treasure. Ha! You see that? That's my one pun for the day about metals and minerals.
Yeah.
So, sir, what got you involved in you have an incredible mind. You can invest in anything. People are investing in stocks, bond, mutual funds. Why the focus on precious minerals?
Okay, good question. So I suppose diversification is how I first came across strategic metals. If all my assets are in one country or in one currency even, I suppose I don't have true diversification. So, I'm coming to you, as you know, I'm in Europe. I'm Irish, but I'm in Ireland, but I lived in Germany for 10 years. I lived in Latin America for 15 years. And I first came across strategic metals about 5 years ago as an investor. I heard about them and I did my due diligence. And I suppose what appealed to me was they're hard assets, and they would add a new sort of additional diversification to my portfolio. Most people are into precious metals, gold and silver, which is all very well. I like gold and silver as well. But at the time, I just didn't know you could invest in these metals, which are rare earths metals. Strategic metals, by the way, is it's an umbrella term for, I know in the US, probably a lot of people call them technology metals. So, you couldn't swipe your phone without indium. That's one of them. So they're basically intrinsic to how, they're in our phones, they're in our computers, they're in our earphones, they're, electric cars, solar cars. So they're in just about everything.
So let me get this straight. These aren't just the metals like gold, silver, platinum. These are metals that have and now I see it's strategic because it's incorporated in the everyday products that we use, and they have a strategic base because we need our phones, we need our cell phones, we need that card swiping chip enabled software. So these are the metals that help us go through the day to day. Is that did I understand that correctly?
That's exactly right, Marcus. Just, I say this a little bit as a joke, but there's a lot of truth to it too, which is if all the gold in the world disappeared tomorrow, it wouldn't make a big difference, because gold has a sort of an extrinsic perceived value. I mean, I know it's used in jewelry and it is used a little bit in industry, but for the most part, it has a perceived value. So if it disappeared, it wouldn't make a big difference to our daily lives. If strategic metals disappeared, we wouldn't be able to communicate on these devices. Planes would fall out of the sky. Cars wouldn't drive. Buildings wouldn't. They're literally in everything. And until very recently, they weren't available to private investors. Most of the business is done, in industry. Basically, the suppliers, the producers sell them to companies like Tesla, Apple Computers, Siemens, Ford Motor Company, Chevrolet, you name it. So they have an intrinsic value, and now they're available to private investors.
So I'm glad that you said that. How can people now invest in these strategic metals where we couldn't before? What has changed, and how does your company assist with that process?
Okay. So, as you mentioned in the introduction, we are an industry supplier. Now, it's funny, that hasn't got anything to do with the investment side, but it also has everything to do with the investment side, Marcus. What I mean by that is, if we weren't an industry supplier, we couldn't safely, securely offer this opportunity to private investors. Now, I'll explain that a little further, which is 85% of our business activities on a daily basis, we're buying and selling these metals. And that's what we've been doing for 30 years. Our office and storage facility is in Frankfurt in Germany. It's a bonded, duty-free, sort of a tax-free zone, just like storage in Switzerland. So we've been doing that for about 30 years. And 12 years ago, in 2010, we decided, why don't we offer rare earths or strategic metals to private investors, just like gold and silver? We've been doing it very successfully for the last 12 years. And now the reason I'm chatting with you and the reason I found you, or we found each other, is we want to do a bit more marketing to North America, because most of our clients up to now have been in Europe, Australia. We do have some US clients, but we want to sort of, open it up a little bit more. We have more storage facility capacity as well.
Makes sense. I love this. This is why I love this. I'm so glad we connected and we got you on the show today, because this is huge. So help me understand this. Your company buys the physical assets, because we're not purchasing into the business that mines the precious metals. This is the actual asset that we're purchasing when that your company helps us transition to, right? Is that like understanding?
That's correct. Yeah, that's 100%. I would say, Marcus, there's three characteristics of what we are, if let's call it our warranty statement, or our guarantees, if you will, to the investor. And you've just listed the first one, which is, because we're an industry supplier, we're the largest rare earth supplier in Europe. Because of that, we can guarantee you, let's say you as an example, the investor, that what you're purchasing are industrial grade, high value assets that can be liquidated to any industry buyer. We have more than 2,900 clients in more than 70 countries in the world. And that's the end buyer. That's who we will eventually liquidate your asset to. But yes, you're absolutely right. We're offering, it's not like, they're not correlated at all to the stock market. It's purely supply and demand. So using, let's say, the same paradigm as gold, the people buy gold and they store it, at home or in Singapore or in Delaware or in Switzerland. It's exactly the same as that, except you're storing in Frankfurt in Germany.
Love it. Love this. How long are investors typically holding these strategic, sorry, forgive me, these strategic metals, how long should I hold on to my strategic metal? Is it, or do I hold it until it's sold or till I have an interested buyer, or can I hold these in perpetuity and continue that long-term growth?
Exactly. Yes. We look, once you purchase the metals, you own them. So it's up to you. I mean, you can liquidate them a week later. We wouldn't recommend that. But what we suggest is a medium to long term play. And medium, I mean 3 to 5 years. Long term, 10 years. There's a good reason for that. I think that will probably come up more in the interview. But there's not much point in. It's not a it's not a get rich quick scheme, if you will. But I mean, as you sort of read out a little bit earlier, using the historical pricing of the last 5 years, they've gone up 175%. So they've gone up 34.2, to be exact, 34.25% a year, every year on average. So there is a good yearly return there, but we still suggest a long-term play. But what's also good about them, Marcus, is they're highly liquid. So if you had by chance, $100,000 in metals, I don't know, and something came up where you a property deal or some sort of or you had to pay for a wedding or something. I don't know why I said that one, but if you needed the money quickly, what's good, a benefit of the rare earths are they're highly liquid. It means we can liquidate them in 3 to 4 working days. We don't need 30 days notice. We don't need 90 days. If you just say, I'm ready to exit, we'll have you signed, sealed, and delivered in 3 to 4 working days. But we do recommend a medium to long-term play.
Love it, love it, love it. Explain to me the gold v strategic metal strategy. Can you explain that to my audience, Sammy?
Sure. Well, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. Although, to be honest, I mean the facts are strategic metals have been outperforming gold because they have an intrinsic value. But I wouldn't say, this is better. I think strategic metals, for anybody who likes gold or silver as an asset, this is another alternative asset that will sit alongside gold very, very nicely in your portfolio. It's sort of further diversification in metals. But I wouldn't say, these are definitely better. There's a market cap of $11.4 trillion in gold, so there's a good reason for that as well. But definitely they deserve a place in any portfolio alongside precious metals or even instead of precious metals.
Love it. Love it. Is there a cap or is there a limit on how much available strategic metals to purchase? Is it based off of, because it's supply and demand? So you guys are one of the largest company suppliers of it. But who's to say that, hey man, you bought up all you bought up all the metal, you bought up all the I think you said it earlier, the titanium, the terrenium. Forgive me, I'm messing this up.
Indium, or tellurium, maybe we were talking about. Well, the thing about it is, Marcus, the demand for these metals is off the charts. It's just unbelievable. And even, let's say there's, like, for example, I'll just list a few industries where they're critically needed and also irreplaceable. One is all modern technology. Like one smartphone has 12 rare earths in it, just one phone. Our laptops, our TV screens, our computers. Now, if you consider that, I'm in Europe, you're in North America, we live in sort of the parts of the world where people are wealthy enough probably to replace, everybody is buying the new device or the new, they're constantly upgrading I've got kids, so, new phone, So if you think that even in our world, demand is always increasing for the newer, bigger, smaller device, right? Then at the same time, you have Brazil, Russia, India, China, who are delivering hundreds of millions of people into the middle class. And when people have a bit more income, they generally spend it and they want it again. So just using modern technology, demand is we can't keep up with demand. Then let's say we're about to go through this massive transformation all over the world to greener energy. Every car manufacturer in the world is going electric. Ford Motor Company recently announced the single largest investment in their history, 11 point something billion dollars, in what they're calling mega campuses to build electric cars in the US. BMW are trying to source 20 billion euros of raw materials for electric cars. So just in electric mobility alone, we're going through this monumental shift that we've never gone, since cars were first put on the road. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but just about 2 weeks ago in Europe, the European Union has banned the internal combustion engine after 2035. So you won't be able to buy, the only car you'll be able to buy in Europe after 2035 is electric. So,
Wow.
that's just two industries, then solar power, wind power, military applications. So the list goes on. And, there's only a finite amount of these raw materials. What makes them a good investment is they're complicated and expensive to separate because they're not found by themselves. They're always found as a sort of a byproduct of another raw material. So the refining and separation is sort of expensive, and that's what makes them expensive.
Sounds like discovering crude oil, right? Crude oil makes once it's refined and it's broken down, it creates candle wax. It creates the oil used in your car, but it has to be broken down. The raw material of it has to be broken down. So that sounds like the same thing. I love this. Round of applause for Mr. Lewis spilling the tea. This is huge. We have one quick commercial break. You guys stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
If you're looking for a reliable professional trucking and logistics service, you've come to the right place. Musa Trucking is a veteran-owned and operated premier transportation provider that can help with all of your trucking and logistics needs. Musa is revolutionizing the trucking industry through strategic partnerships, the development of core personnel, and the use of cutting-edge technology. Our inventory system ensures that cargo ends up divided into the right trucks and reaching the correct destination. Our drivers are dedicated to transporting goods efficiently and safely. Contact us today to get started by visiting the website on the screen or by calling 757-756-5246.
Good day, podcast listeners. We are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Thank you guys for tuning back in. We have the incredible Mr. Louis spilling the tea on strategic metals and his company helping us take us to the next level on our investing. And so he broke down earlier what exactly are strategic metals, the difference between gold and strategic metals, and how are investors profiting and making money on this industry. This it's not new, but it's new to us because it's happening right now. Right, people are now taking advantage of the opportunity to invest in strategic metals, and he broke it down for us early on in the show. If you missed that, go back, scroll back, and check this out. You don't want to miss any second of it. We are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and any other platforms that you get your podcast today. Mr. Lewis, sir, this is huge and fundamental. What is the minimum investment, or what's the maximum investment someone can do with your company to get involved in this today?
Okay, the minimum investment is just $10,000 or 10,000 euros. We sell in both, and there is no maximum. We do have some big clients come in, and I suppose the only thing, if somebody was buying, a huge amount, 5 million, 10 million, then we just need to sit down and have a conversation about the exit, like when that likely to be. For example, we could liquidate $500,000 in a day, but, if somebody wanted to liquidate a bigger amount than that, we might need a bit more time. And since we guarantee the investor that we will liquidate their assets for them, we just want to make sure we're both on the same page on that time frame as well. So yeah, as we discussed earlier, the demand is huge for these raw materials. It's not going. I don't think there's anybody in the world, besides my mother-in-law, who would argue that the demand is going to go down in value. Sorry about that, mother-in-laws, but it was just a joke.
We love you. We
The
love you.
mother-in-law joke,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gotta throw one in there every now and again. This is not a Debbie Downer situation, but what are some of the risks to investing in strategic metals? Every investment has risks. What are some of the risks that people should be privy to or be aware of?
Correct. Well, look, I mean, it is a speculation, right? Nobody knows what the price will be tomorrow. Nobody knows what it'll be in a week from now, or 3 months from now. The good news is you can look at the historical pricing and see that what I'm saying does match up with the numbers. I mean, that those increases are real. So you can sort of, I think in the real estate business, they call it a path of progress play. If you look at the last, say, 5 years or 10 years, should give you a good indication of what's going to happen in the next 5 or 10. So they are in demand, but where the risks are, say, on profitability could be, we talked earlier, Marcus, that you're able to swipe your phone because of indium, one of our metals. Let's suppose somebody maybe creates or finds a better metal to do that, or a different technology, then the demand for indium could come down from Apple, the manufacturers, and so that's something that could happen. Also, or maybe alternatively, there might be more production. In fact, the U.S. Department of Defense just signed an agreement with a company in Australia to come to America to refine rare earth. So you are going to see more production over the next 5, 10, 15 years, because China at the moment is the dominant market leader, and both Europe and the US and Australia, other nations, need to wean their dependence off China. So I can tell you that there will be probably a 20% increase in production. However, I think there will still be good returns because of the demand. I'll just give you one example. Gallium is one of our metals, which is in just about everything. Gallium's up 50% every year for the last 5 years. It's already up 40% this year. The estimates on gallium are that the demand for gallium is somewhere between 6 times or 9 times greater than supply, and that's not going to change until at least 2030. So, it's just a great story. I believe we still live in the age of miracles, and we still live in the age of when people can find a genuinely good investment. Obviously, they have to do their due diligence, thorough due diligence, but it's a very simple investment. Buy the asset, it's in demand, watch it go up in value, liquidate it when you've made a satisfactory profit.
Makes sense. I love this. How is strategic metals, and is it taxed similar to precious metals and minerals? How does your company send out a statement at the end of the year? How is that taxed?
Okay, so the storage facility in Europe, in Frankfurt, it's what's called a Zoollager, it's a bonded duty-free zone. So there's no taxes to the investors. There's no import duties, or there's no VAT if they've held them for at least 1 year. So if you keep them for a minimum of a year, you don't pay any taxes on entry or exit. However, I'm Irish, so I can't give tax advice. I wouldn't even attempt to say I know anything about the US system. But what I do know from my North American clients is Uncle Sam is one of only 2 countries in the world that has global taxation. So you'd have, a North American citizen would need to talk with their financial advisor, tax advisor, and I believe the only taxes they'll be looking at is when they liquidate the metals, and if there's been a profit, they'll pay tax on the gains.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you. And again, to protect my guests, this is not constitute as tax advice or financial advice. You have to sit down and have a consultation. How much for a consultation, Mr. Lewis? Is there a consultation? And how do people connect on that level with you?
With me, no. I mean, I'm if somebody wants to meet or chat, there's no, we don't charge any fees. We're in business, so um, the best way to contact me, I can give the website and stuff if you like, but
Please.
yeah. Yeah, okay, so my website, yeah, there it is. Strategic Metals Invest, or somebody if they want to, they can email me directly, Louis, Louis. Oh, wow, you're quick there, Marcus. Louis at strategicmetalsinvest.com. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. What is the plan? What's the future look like? I heard in the grapevine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what is the hot metal today to invest in? What's hot right now? Can you share
Okay,
any of that?
excellent question. And again, I can't predict the future, but what is a fact, what is happening is, from every country in the world, is we're changing how we power our daily lives. 80% of global emissions come from how we power our daily lives. Now, look, I'm apolitical. It doesn't matter. This is about an investment, so it doesn't matter to me if somebody sort of believes in climate change or not. The point of it is, it's happening, and all cars are going electric, solar power. Something that's interesting as well, Marcus, is because of these metals we offer, in the very near future, you won't need to sort of charge anymore like Fitbits or smartphones or wearable medical devices,
Mm.
because these new technologies, with the aid of rare earths, basically what they can, from the movement and from the energy from the light, they can absorb, the light or the energy, and transform it then into electricity. So that's, you're going to see the same thing with cars. Like, there's two car manufacturers in Europe, one in Holland and one in Germany, who are already selling solar cars. So the roof of your car, and even the body of the car, will have thin film solar cells, will have gallium and indium, and so they'll be you won't need to plug them in. So the world is going to look very different in 10 years from now, in how, in our energy sources, and our metals are critically needed in that transformation. So my suggestion would be, there's four metals that are in electric cars, solar power and wind power. Those would be my recommendations.
I love that. I love that. Any I heard on I watch way too much YouTube. any any is what's it called? A meteorite. The metal, there's metal in meteorite, space metal. Is there any strategy in that for you guys?
Well, look, I mean, the Chinese and North America, NASA, are already looking into that,
Yeah.
but no, it's a long, it's a long. Me and you will be long gone by then. Let's put it that way, Marcus.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I love it. Sir, this has been incredible. This has been an impactful interview. I thank you for taking time out of your busy day to give back. You've shared so many gold nuggets. You see what I did there? Gold nuggets today on the show. Any final tips, advice for that eager investor who's against the fence, who's not really sure on what to do or what move to make next? Any advice there?
Well, it's a very good, to be honest, I honestly don't like to give advice. I think the
Sure.
worst advice is advice, right? However, the only thing I would suggest is, not suggest, but what I know to be true is, because that's how I found rare earths, is there are, good opportunities out there, and, check them out, do your due diligence, of course, thoroughly. But yourself, I mean, every generation, there comes new ideas and new products and new things, and this is one of them at the moment. I know this will be more mainstream in a few years from now, and that's fine too. But you know, good things do happen. You know, good things come our way, and just you know, don't be scared or don't be shy to take a look. You know, because you know I suppose when you get out of your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens, isn't it?
That is. Love it, love it, love it. Luis, spilling the tea. Sir, thank you for being on a Gentleman Style Podcast show today. How can people connect with you? How can we learn more? Can you share that website again and how to connect with you?
Sure. My website is strategicmetalsinvest.com, and my email is Louis, Louis, at strategicmetalsinvest.com.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Mr. Luis, for giving back today and sharing these nuggets. I appreciate you, sir. You are awesome. This is huge and crucial to our future. So strategic metals, y'all, strategic metals and minerals. This is not just, you know, gold and silver and platinum on what you see on these rappers' chains and jewelry. This is the strategic side. What's in your phone, what's in your car, what's in your television, your computers. These are the metals that are used to make the everyday items that you buy and purchase and spend money on every day. So it's bigger than this. So if you have any questions, please connect. I'm gonna leave that email up there and that website up there, so you guys can write it down if you're writing it down. But connect. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I want to say to you and your company, don't ever quit. We need this. Don't keep getting the word out. I'm a push this out. This is
Thank
huge.
you, Marcus. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I love your energy and enthusiasm, and love the passion for what you do is very clear. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you all, my audience, for tuning into the Gentleman Style Podcast show. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you guys take your business, your investment portfolio to the next level. Like I always end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always take care of business. This is Marcus Norman, your favorite host of Gentleman Style Podcast show, and Luis, founder, CEO of Strategic Metals Invest. Check them out. We love you guys. Bye.